One thing that I remember hearing a lot when I first became a teacher that I don't really love is this idea of we're preparing these students for the real world. And even like early on in education, I just remember like thinking they're already living in the real world. They're experiencing all these things that we experience as adults. They're experiencing death, divorce, financial stress, some homelessness. They're experiencing the real world and having to learn how to navigate these difficult situations, which goes kind of hand in hand with this idea of rigor. That's like a buzzword right now in education. That word made me nervous because I felt like, I don't think I'm doing that. I don't think if you described my classroom in 10 words, I don't think rigorous would be on there, because to me, rigor meant more work, more writing, more assignments, more stamina, right? If we compare it to being, physical training, if you want to build endurance, you run sprints every day, you run a mile every week, you do more so your body gets used to it. So I thought, maybe I need to push my students harder. Maybe I need to make them write more and produce more work and do more. But then when I would turn to the data, which never gives us the whole story, I noticed my students are learning and they are growing and they are improving. And I wasn't making them, what I thought compared to maybe other classrooms, do a crazy amount of work. And I realized that I was just wrong in what the word rigor really meant, right? Rigor isn't about more work. It's about thinking. It's about students being willing to try, to do things that are more difficult, to make mistakes, to keep going, to be resilient. And that kind of intrinsic motivation only happens when students feel safe enough to take risks. So in my classroom, I focus on creating a culture where mistakes are normal, curiosity is encouraged, students know that they won't be embarrassed if they get something wrong. They'll be applauded and high-fived, because when students feel that kind of trust, that's when something really powerful happens. They push themselves, not because they're forced to, but because they're excited to grow. And to me, that's what real rigor looks like.